You walk into the bookstore and you keep your hand on the door to make sure it doesn't slam. You smile, embarrassed to be a nice girl. And your nails are bare, and your v-neck sweater is beige. And it's impossible to know if you're wearing a bra, but I don't think that you are. You're so clean that you're dirty, and you murmur your first word to me. Hello. When most people would just pass by. But not you. In your loose pink jeans, a pink spun from Charlotte's Web, and where did you come from? You are classic and compact. My own little Natalie Portman, circa the end of the movie Closer. When she's fresh faced and done with the bad British guys and going home to America. You've come home to me. Delivered at last. On a Tuesday, 10:06 a.m. Every day I commute to this shop on the Lower East Side from my place in Bed-Stuy. Every day I close up without finding anyone like you. Look at you. Born into my world today. I'm shaking, and I'd pop an Ativan, but they're downstairs, and I don't want to pop an Ativan. I don't want to come down. I want to be here, fully, watching you bite your unpainted nails and turn your head to the left. No, bite that pinky. Widen those eyes. To the right. No, reject biographies. Self help. Thank God. And slow down when you make it to fiction. Yes, I let you disappear into the stacks. Fiction FK. And you're not the standard insecure nymph hunting for Faulkner. You'll never finish. Never start. Faulkner that will harden and calcify, if books could calcify, on your nightstand. Faulkner meant only to convince one night stands that you mean it when you swear you never do this kind of thing. No, you're not like those girls. You don't stage Faulkner and your jeans hang loose and you're too sun-kissed for Stephen King and too untrendy for Heidi Julavitz. And who? Who will you buy? You sneeze loudly, and I imagine how loud you are when you climax. God bless you, I call out. You giggle, and holler back. You horny girl. You too, buddy. Buddy, you're flirting. And if I was the kind of asshole who Instagrams, I would photograph the F key placard and filter the shit out of that baby and caption it FK, yes, I found her. Calm down, Joe. They don't like it when a guy comes on too strong. I reminded myself, thank God for a customer. And it's hard to scan his predictable Salinger. Then again, it's always hard to do that. This guy is, what, 36, and he's only now reading Franny and Zoe? And let's get real. He's not reading it. It's just a front for the Dan Browns in the bottom of his basket. Work at a bookstore and learn that most people in this world feel guilty about being who they are. I bag the Dan Brown first, like it's kitty porn, and tell him Franny and Zoe is the shit, and he nods, and you're still an FK because I can see your beige sweater through the stacks. Barely. If you reach any higher, I'll see your belly. But you won't. You grab a book and sit down in the aisle, and maybe you'll stay here all night. Maybe it'll be like the Natalie Portman movie where the heart is, adapted faithlessly from the Billy Letts book. Above par for that kind of crud. And I'll find you in the middle of the night. Only you won't be pregnant, and I won't be the meek man in the movie. I'll lean over and say, "Excuse me, miss, but we're closed." And you look up and smile. Well, I'm not closed. A breath. I'm wide open, buddy. Hey, Salinger Brown bites. He's still here? He's still here. Can I get a receipt? Sorry about that. He grabs out of my hand. He doesn't hate me. He hates himself. If people could handle their self-loathing, customer service would be smoother. You know what, kid? You need to get over yourself. You work at a bookstore. You don't make the books. You don't write the books. And if you were any good at reading the books, you probably wouldn't work in a bookstore. So wipe that judgmental look off your face and tell me to have a nice day. This man could say anything in the world to me, and he'd still be the one shame-buying Daniel Brown. Or Dan Brown. You appear now with your intimate Portman smile. Having heard the motherfucker, I look at you. You look at him, and he's still looking at me. Waiting. Have a nice day, sir, I say, and he knows I don't mean it. Hates that he craves platitudes from a stranger. When he's gone, I call out again, because you're listening. You enjoy that Dan Brown, motherfucker. You walk over, laughing, and thank God it's morning, and we're dead in the morning, and nobody's going to get in our way. You put your basket of books down on the counter, and you sass, "You going to judge me too?" What an asshole, right? Probably just in a mood. You're a sweetheart. You see the best in people. You compliment me. Well, I say, and I should shut up, and I want to shut up, but you make me want to talk. That guy is the reason that Blockbuster shouldn't have gone under. You look at me. You're curious. And I want to know about you, but I can't ask, so I just keep talking. Everybody's always striving to be better. Lose 5 pounds, read 5 books, go to a museum, buy a classical record and listen to it, and like it. What they really want to do is eat donuts, read magazines, buy pop albums. And books? Fuck books. Get a Kindle. You know why Kindles are so successful. You laugh and you shake your head, and you're listening to me at the point when most people drift, go into their phone. And you're pretty, and you ask, why? I'll tell you why. The internet put porn in your home. I just said porn. What a dummy, but you're still listening. What a doll. Didn't have to go out and get it. You didn't have to make eye contact with the guy at the store who now knows you like watching girls get spanked. Eye contact is what keeps us civilized. Your eyes are almonds, and I go on. Revealed. You don't wear a wedding ring, and I go on. Human. You are patient, and I need to shut up, but I can't. And the Kindle. The Kindle takes all the integrity out of reading, which is exactly what the internet did to porn. The checks and balances are gone. You can read your Dan Brown in public and in private all at once. It's the end of civilization. But there's always a but, you say, and I bet you come from a big family of healthy, loving people who hug a lot and sing songs around a campfire. But with no places to buy movies or albums, it's come down to books. There are no more video stores, so there are no more nerds who work in video stores and quote Tarantino and fight about Dario Argento and hate on people who rent Meg Ryan movies. That act, the interaction between seller and buyer, is the most important two-way street we got. And you can't just eradicate two-way streets like that and not expect a fallout, you know? I don't know if you know, but you don't tell me to stop talking the way people sometimes do, and you nod. See, the record store was the great equalizer. It gave the nerds power. You're really buying Taylor Swift? Even though all those nerds went home and jerked it to Taylor Swift. Stop saying Taylor Swift. Are you laughing at me or with me? Anyway, I say, and I'll stop if you tell me to. Anyway, you say, and you want me to finish. The point is, buying stuff is one of the only honest things we do. That guy didn't come in here for Dan Brown or Salinger. That guy came in here to confess. Are you a priest? No, I'm a church. Amen. You look at your basket, and I sound like a deranged loner, and I look in your basket, your phone. You don't see it, but I do. It's cracked. It's in a yellow case. This means that you only take care of yourself when you're beyond redemption. I bet you take zinc the third day of a cold. I pick up your phone and try to make a joke. You steal this off that guy? You take your phone and you read it. Me and this phone, you say. I'm a bad mommy. Mommy, you're dirty, you are. Nah. You smile, and you're definitely not wearing a bra. You take the books out of the basket and put the basket on the floor and look at me like it wouldn't be remotely possible for me to criticize anything you ever did. Your nipples pop. You don't cover them. You notice the Twizzlers I keep by the register. You point, hungry. Can I? Yes, I say, and I am feeding you already. I pick up your first book, Impossible Vacation by Spalding Gray. Interesting, I say. Most people get his monologues. This is a great book, but it's not a book that people go around buying, particularly young women who don't appear to be contemplating suicide given the fate of the author. Well, sometimes you just want to go where it's dark, you know. Yeah, I say. Yeah. If we were teenagers, I could kiss you. But I'm on the platform behind a counter wearing a name tag, and we're too old to be young. Night moves don't work in the morning, and the light pours in through the windows. Aren't bookstores supposed to be dark? Note to self. Tell Mr. Mooney to get blinds, curtains, anything. I pick up your second book, Desperate Characters, by one of my favorite authors, Paula Fox. This is a good sign, but you could be buying it because you read on some stupid blog that she's Courtney Love's biological grandmother. I can't be sure that you're buying Paula Fox because you came to her the right way from a Jonathan Franzen essay. You reach into your wallet. She's the best, right? Kills me that she's not more famous, even with Franzen gushing about her, you know? Thank God, I smile. The Western Coast. You look away. I haven't gone there yet. I look at you, and you put your hands up. Surrender. Don't shoot. You giggle, and I wish your nipples were still hard. I'm going to read The Western Coast someday, and Desperate Characters I've read a zillion times. This one's for a friend. Uh-huh, I say, and the red lights flash danger. For a friend. It's probably a waste of time. He won't even read it, but at least she sells a book, right? True. Maybe he's your brother or your dad or a gay neighbor, but I know he's a friend, and I stabbed at the calculator. It's 3151. Holy money! See, that's why Kindles rule. You say as you reach into your Zuckerman's pink wallet and hand me your credit card, even though you have enough cash in there to cover it. You want me to know your name, and I'm no nut job, and I swipe your card, and the quiet between us is getting louder. And why didn't I put on music today? And I can't think of anything to say. Here we go, and I offer you the receipt. Thanks, you murmur. This is a great shop. You're signing, and you're signing, and you are Guinevere Beck. Your name is a poem, and your parents are assholes, probably like most parents. Guinevere? Come on. Thank you, Guinevere. I really just go by Beck. Guinevere's kind of long and ridiculous, you know. Well, Beck, you look different in person. Also, Midnight Vultures is awesome. You take your bag of books and you don't break eye contact because you want me to see you seeing me. Right on, Goldberg. Nah, I just go by Joe. Goldberg is kind of long and ridiculous, you know. We're laughing, and you wanted to know my name as much as I wanted to know yours, and you wouldn't have read my name tag. Sure you don't want to grab the Western Coast while you're here? This would sound crazy, but I'm saving it. For my nursing home list. You mean bucket lists? Oh no, that's totally different. A nursing home list is a list of things you plan on reading and watching in a nursing home. A bucket list is more like visit Nigeria, jump out of an airplane. A nursing home list is like read the Western Coast and watch Pulp Fiction and listen to the latest Daft Punk album. I can't picture you in a nursing home. You blush. You are Charlotte's Web, and I could love you. Aren't you going to tell me to have a nice day? Have a nice day, Beck. You smile. Thanks, Joe. You didn't walk in here for books, Beck. You didn't have to say my name. You didn't have to smile or listen or take me in. But you did. Your signature is on the receipt. This wasn't a cash transaction, and it wasn't a coded debit. This was real. I pressed my thumb into the wet ink, and your receipt and the ink of Guinevere Beck stains my skin. I came to know E. E. Cummings the way most sensitive, intelligent men my age came to E. E. Cummings, via one of the most romantic scenes in one of the most romantic love stories of all time, Hannah and Her Sisters, where an intelligent, sophisticated married New Yorker named Elliot, Michael Caine, falls in love with his sister-in-law, Barbara Hershey. He has to be careful. He can't casually make a move. He waits near her apartment and stages a run-in. Brilliant, romantic. Love takes work. She is surprised to run into him, and she takes him to the pageant bookstore. Are you catching a theme here? Where he buys books of E. E. Cummings poems for her and sends her to the poem on page 112. She sits alone in bed, reading the poem, and he, meanwhile, stands alone in his bathroom, thinking of her as we hear her reading. My favorite part of the poem. Nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands. Except for you, Beck. These past few days I've learned so much. You put your tiny hands to work on yourself when the mood strikes, which does, often. Which reminds me of another joke in Hannah where Mia Farrow teases Woody Allen that he ruined himself with excessive masturbation. You're okay, I hope. The trouble with society is that if the average person knew about us, you alone, orgasming 3 times a night, and me across the street watching you orgasm alone, most people would say I'm the fuck up. Well, it's no secret that most people are fucking idiots. Most people like cheap mysteries, and most people have never heard of Paula Fox or Hannah, so honestly, Beck, fuck most people, right? Besides, I like that you take care of yourself instead of filling your home and your pussy with a string of inadequate men. You're the answer to every banal and reductive article about hookup culture. You have standards, and you are Guinevere, a love story waiting for the one, and I bet you capitalize the one when you dream of him, of me. Everyone wants everything right now, but you are able to wait with such small hands. Your name was a glorious place to start. Lucky for us, there aren't a lot of Guinevere Becks in the world, just the one. The first thing I had to find was your home, and the internet was designed with love in mind. It gave me so much of you, Beck. Your Twitter profile, Guinevere Beck, at the Unreal Beck. I've never had an unspoken thought. I write stories. I read stories. I talk to strangers. Nantucket is my homeboy, but New York is my home bitch. You're revealing bios at various online journals that publish your blogs, unless you want to call them essays. And your thinly veiled diary entries, unless you want to call them short stories. And the poems you write sometimes have fleshed you out. You are a writer, born and raised on Nantucket, and you joke about island inbreeding. But you aren't inbred. In sailing, you are petrified of boats. In alcoholism, you lost your father to the bottle and write about it a lot. Your family is as tight as it is loose. You don't know how to be here. In the city where nobody knows anybody, even though you had 4 years of practice as an undergrad at Brown. You got in off the wait list and you remain convinced that there was some sort of mistake. You like polenta and cherry pie larabars. You don't take pictures of food or concerts, but you do Instagram, but really only old things. Pictures of your dead father, pictures of beach days you can't possibly remember. You have a brother, Clyde. Your parents really were assholes about the names. You have a sister, Anya. Serious assholes, but not the kind I thought. Real estate records show that your house has been in your family forever. You hail from farmers, and you're fond of saying that you don't have a place on Nantucket, but that your family made a home there. Full of disclaimers, you're like a warning label on a pack of cigarettes. Anya is an islander, and she'll never leave. She's the baby who wants nothing more than walks on the beach in the clear division of summer and a desolation endemic to a seasonal tourist trap. Anya is fucked in the head over your dad. You write about her in your stories and you turn her into a young boy or an aging blind woman or, once, a lost squirrel. But it's clear that you're writing about your sister. You envy her. How come she doesn't have the weight of ambition? You pity her. How come she has no ambition? Clyde is the oldest, and he gets to run the family's taxi business on the island. He's married with 2 kids, and he's the paint by numbers parent of the family. That much is clear from his picture in the local paper. A volunteer fireman, leather skin, standard issue, American man. Your dad has a record of any small town boozer, and he's not above a DUI or a public intoxication. And your brother responded by being the opposite sober, extremely sober. If you had been burned forced, running the family business might have been an option. But you were a classic middle child, and you did well in school, and your whole life you were labeled the hope, the one who would get away. The internet is a beautiful thing, and you sent a tweet about an hour after we met that day. I smell cheeseburgers. Hashtag corner bistro is making me fat. And let me tell you, for a moment there, I was concerned. Maybe I wasn't special. You didn't even mention me. Our conversation. Also, I talk to strangers is a line in your Twitter bio. I talk to strangers? What the fuck is that, Beck? Children are not supposed to talk to strangers, but you are an adult. Or is our conversation nothing to you? Am I just another stranger? Is your Twitter bio your subtle way of announcing that you're an attention whore who has no standards and will give audience to any poor schmuck who says hello? Was I nothing to you? You don't even mention the guy in the bookstore. Fuck, I thought. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe we had nothing. But then I started to explore you, and you don't write about what really matters. You wouldn't share me with your followers. Your online life is a variety show, so if anything, the fact that you didn't put me in your stand-up act means that you covet me. Maybe even more than I realized, since right now your hand is heading down to your cunt yet again. The next thing the internet gave me was your address, 51 Bank Street. Are you fucking kidding me? This isn't a frenzied Middletown block where harried worker bees storm to and from the office. This is Tony, sleepy, ridiculously safe, and expensive. West Village real estate. I can't just hang out on your block. I have to fit in with the la-di-da folk. I hit up the thrift store. I buy a suit. Businessman and or driver and or kept man. Carpenter pants. And some kind of tool belt. Handyman on a break. And a bullshit tracksuit. Asshole taking care of his precious body. I wear this suit for my first visit and I love it here, Beck. It's quintessential old New York, and I expect Edith Wharton and Truman Capote to cross the street hand in hand, each carrying a Greek paper cup of coffee, looking as they did in their heyday, as if they'd been preserved in formaldehyde. Princesses live on this block, and Sid Vicious died on this block a long time ago when the princesses were gestating, when Manhattan was still cool. I stand across the street and your windows are open, no curtains, and I watch you pour instant oatmeal into a Tupperware bowl. You are not a princess. Your Twitter confirms that you won some kind of real estate lottery. Not to sound like at Anna Kendrick 47, but I love you, awesome nerds of the at Brown Bias NYC, and I can't wait to move to Bank Street. I sit down on the stoop and Google. The Brownstone Bias Lottery is an essay contest for Brown University graduates who need housing for graduate school in New York. The apartment has stayed in the Brown family, whatever that means, for years. You're an MFA candidate in fiction writing, so it's no surprise that you won a lottery that's actually an essay contest. And Anna Kendrick is an actress in this movie Pitch Perfect, which is about college girls who sing in a cappella competitions. You see yourself in this girl, which makes no sense. I watched that Pitch movie. That girl would never live the way you do. People pass by your parlor level apartment, ever so slightly above ground level, and they don't stop to stare even though you're on display. Your two windows are wide open, and you are lucky this is not a well trafficked street. This must explain the diluted sense of privacy you have. I return the next evening, same suit, can't help it, and you walk around naked in front of the open windows. Naked. I hang out again across the street on the stoop, and you don't notice me, and nobody notices you or me, and is everyone here fucking blind? Days pass, and I grow anxious. You parade too much, and it's unsafe, and it only takes one weirdo to spot you inside and decide to go and get you. A few days later, I wear my carpenter costume, and I fantasize about putting bars on your windows, protecting this display case you call a home. I think of this neighborhood as safe, and it is, but there's deathliness into the quiet here. I could probably strangle some old man in the middle of the street and nobody would come outside to stop me. I return to my suit, so much better than carpenter garb, and I swear a Yankees cap I found at another thrift shop. I'm that asshole. To mix it up, just in case you were to notice, which you don't, a man who lives in your building climbs the very small staircase, just 3 steps, that leads to an exterior door. It's not locked, and that door is so close to your apartment. If he wanted to, and who wouldn't want to, he could lean over the railing and rap his knuckles on your screen and call your name. I come in in the night, and whenever I am here, your windows are always open. It's like you've never seen the nightly news or a horror movie, and I sit on the steps of the brownstone across the tiny, clean street that faces your building, and I pretend to read Paula Fox's Poor George, or pretend to text my business associates, ha! Or pretend to call a friend who's late and loudly agree to wait another 20 minutes. That's for the neighbor who always might be hidden away, suspicious of the man on the stoop. I've seen a lot of movies. With your open door policy, I am allowed into your world. I smell your lean cuisines if the wind is right, and I hear your vampire weekend. And if I pretend to yawn and look up, I can see you loaf, yawn, breathe. Were you always like this? I wonder if you were this way in Providence, parading around as if you want your rarefied neighbors to know you naked, half naked, addicted to microwave foods, and masturbating at the top of your lungs. Hopefully not. Hopefully there is logic to this, and you'll explain to me when it's time. And you with your computer. As if you need to remind your imaginary audience that you're a writer when I, know what you truly are. A performer. An exhibitionist. And all the while, I have to be vigilant. I slick my hair back one day and wear it shaggy the next. I must go unnoticed by the people who don't notice people. After all, if the average person was told about an often nude girl prancing around in front of an open window and a love-struck guy across the street watching discreetly, most people would say I'm the nut. But you're the nut. You're just not called a nut because your pussy is a thing that all these people want to know about, whereas my whole being is abhorrent to your neighbors. I live in a 6th-floor walk-up in Bed-Stuy. I didn't allow my nutsack to be raided by the College Loan Society of bullshit. I get paid under the table and own a TV with an antenna. These people don't want to touch my dick with a 10-foot pole. Your pussy, on the other hand, is gold. I sip my coffee on the stoop across the street and grip my rolled-up Wall Street Journal, and I breathe, and I look at you. I never want the tracksuit because you make me want to dress up, Beck. 2 weeks pass, and the portly dowager emerges from her quarters. I stand, fucked, but a gentleman. Hello, madam, I say, and I offer my assistance. She accepts. It's about time you young men learn how to behave, she rasped. Couldn't agree more. I say, and the driver of her town car opens the door. He nods to me. Brothers, I could do this forever, and I settle back onto my stoop. Is this why people like reality TV? Your world is a wonder to me, seeing where you lounge, in cotton panties bought in bulk online from Victoria's Secret. I saw you tear into the package the other day. And where you don't sleep, you sit on that couch and read crap online. You make me think. Maybe you're searching for that hot guy in the bookstore, maybe. This is where you write, sitting so erect with your hair in a bun and typing at bunny rabbit speed until you can't take it anymore and you grab the lime green pillow, the same pillow you prop your head against when you nap, and you mount that thing like an animal. Release. This is where you sleep at last. Also, your apartment is small as hell. You were right when you tweeted, I live in a shoebox, which is okay because I don't blow Benjamins and on Manolos at Brown Bias NYC #Rebel. My Brown University mug is bigger than my apartment at Brown Bias NYC #real estate #NYC. There's no kitchen, just an area where appliances are shoved together like clearance floor samples at Bed Bath & Beyond. But there's truth buried in your tweet. You hate it here. You grew up in a big house with a backyard and a front yard. You like space. That's why you leave the windows open. You don't know how to be alone with yourself. And if you block out the world, there you'd be. Your neighbors go on, like children. Town cars pick them up from their enormous nearby homes and redeposit them at day's end, while you fester in a space meant for a maid or a golden retriever with a sprained ankle. But I don't blame you for staying here. You and I share a love of the West Village, and if I could move into this place, I would too. Even if it meant slowly going insane from claustrophobia. You made the right choice, Beck. Your mother was wrong. Mom says no lady should live in a shoebox at Brown Bias NYC #MomLogic #not a lady. You tweet more often than you write, and this could be why you're getting your MFA from a new school and not from Columbia. Columbia rejected you. Rejection is a dish best served in a paper envelope because then at least you can tear it up or burn it. #not in the Columbia #life goes on. And you were right. Life did go on. Through the new school, though the new school isn't as prestigious, the teachers and students like you well enough. A lot of their workshops are accessible online. A lot of college is accessible online, which is yet another strike against the increasingly irrelevant elitist system that they call college. Your writing is coming along, and if you spent a little less time tweeting and spanking the kitty. But honestly, Beck, if I were in your skin, I'd never even put clothes on. You like to name things, and I wonder what you'll name me. You are attempting to have a Twitter contest for a name of your apartment. How about #box smaller than my box? Or #pitch perfect watching pad? Or yoga mat closet mistaken for a apartment? Or place where you look out the window and see the guy from the bookstore watching you and you smile and wave, and a cabbie lays on his horn because some freshly showered asshole who crawled out of a Bret Easton Ellis rough draft that never saw the light of day is crossing the street without looking. He says sorry, but he doesn't mean it, and he's running his hand through his blonde hair. He has too much hair, and he's walking up those steps like he owns them, like they were built for him, and the door opens before he's there. And that's you opening the door, and now you're getting there. Guiding him inside and kissing him before the door slows to a close. And now your hands, such small hands, are in his hair, and I can't see either of you until you're in the living room and he sits on the couch, and you tear off your tank top and climb on top of him, and you grind like a stripper. And this is all wrong, Beck. He tears off your cotton panties and he's spanking you, and you're yelping, and I cross the street and lean against your building door because I need to hear it. Sorry, Daddy, sorry. Say it again, little girl. I'm sorry, Daddy. You're a bad girl. I'm a bad girl. You want a spanking, don't you? Yes, Daddy, I want a spanking. He's in your mouth. He barks at you. He slaps at you. Once in a while, Truman Capote walks by and looks, reacts, then looks away. Nobody reports this to the police because nobody wants to admit to watching. This is Bank Street, for fuck's sake. And now you're fucking him, and I return to my side of the street where I see that he's not making love to you. You're grabbing his hair. Too much hair. Like it might save you in your stories. You deserve better, and it can't feel good. The way he grips you, big weak hands that never worked, the way he smacks your ass when he's done. You hop off and you lean against him and he pushes you away, and you let him smoke in your apartment and he ashes in your brown mug, bigger than your apartment. And you watch your pitch perfect while he smokes and texts and pushes you away when you lean into him. You look sad, and nobody in the world has such small hands. Except for you and me. Why am I so sure? 3 months ago, before you knew me, you wrote this tweet. Can we all be honest and admit we know hashtag EE Cummings because of hashtag Hannah and her sisters? Okay, phew. Hashtag no more BS. Hashtag end of pretension. See how you were talking to me before you even knew me? When he leaves, he isn't holding Desperate Characters by Paula Fox. He is a blonde misogynist popping his collar and blowing hair out of his eyes. He just used you when he is not your friend, and I have to leave. You need a shower. Before you, there was Candace. She was stubborn too, so I'm going to be patient with you. Same way I was patient with her. I am not going to hold it against you that in that old bulky laptop computer of yours, you write about every fucking thing in the world except me. I am no idiot, Beck. I know how to search a hard drive, and I know I'm not in there. And I know you don't even own anything resembling a notebook or a diary. One possible theory, you write about me in the notepad on your phone. Hope remains. But I'm not going to pull away from you. Sure, you are uniquely sexual. Case in point, you devour the casual encounters section on Craigslist, copying and pasting your favorite post into a giant file on your computer. Why, Beck? Why? Fortunately, you don't participate in casual encounters. And I suppose that girls like to collect things, but be it kale soup recipes or poorly worded, grammatically offensive daddy fantasies composed by desperate loners. Hey, I'm still here. I accept you. And okay, so you do let the blonde creep do things to you that you read about in these Craigslist ads, but at least you have boundaries. That perv is not your boyfriend. You sent him into the street where he belongs, as if you are disgusted with him, which you should be. And I have read all your recent emails, and it's official. You did not tell anyone that he was in your apartment, inside of you. He is not your boyfriend. That's all that matters, and I am ready to find you, and I am able to find you, and I owe that to Candace. Dear Candace, I first saw Candace at the Glasslands in Brooklyn. She played flute in a band with her brother and sister. You would like their music. They were called Martyr, and I wanted to know her right away. I was patient. I followed them all over Brooklyn and lower Manhattan. They were good. They weren't ever going to be top 40, but sometimes they'd have a song featuring a wretched show for teenagers on the CW, and their website would explode. They didn't have a label because they couldn't agree on anything. Anyway, Candace was the prettiest, the lead of the band. Her brother was your standard drummer fuck up douchebag, and her sister was homely and talented. You can't just bum rush a girl after a concert, especially when the band's music is ambient techno electro shit, and when her psycho controlling brother, who, by the way, would never be in a band were it not for his sisters, is always hanging around. I had to get Candace alone, and I couldn't be some guy hitting on her because of her protective brother. And I was going to die if I didn't get to hold her, or at least make a step toward holding her, so I improvised. One night, outside the Glasslands, where it all began, I introduced myself to Martyr as the new assistant at Stop It Records. I told him I was scouting. Well, bands like being scouted, and there I was, minutes later, in a booth, drinking whiskey with Candace and her irritating siblings. Her sister left. Good girl. But her brother was a problem. I couldn't kiss Candace or ask for her number. Email me, she said. I could take a picture of it and put it on Instagram. We love it when labels reach out. So I did what any Elliot and Hannah would do. I staked out Stop It Records, a sad little joint, and noticed this kid they call Peters come and go every day. Before and after work, he'd duck into an alley and smoke a little pot. You couldn't blame him, what with the shit he put up with at work. Peters was the assistant to all the record label pricks in tight jeans who call their glasses eyewear and call for Splenda and extra Parmigiano Reggiano. So I camped out with a joint in the alley one day and asked Peters for a light. It was easy to make friends. People at the bottom of the totem pole are hungry for other people. I told him all about the dilemma with Candace, how I told her I worked for Stop It, and it was his idea to email her from his account, ASST1 at stopitrecords.com, and pretend to be me. Candace wrote back, giddy, hot, and of course, she gave me ASST1, her number. I didn't feel bad about using Peters. If anything, he finally felt like he had something resembling power, and sometimes you have to play around with the facts to get the girl. I have seen enough romantic comedies to know that romantic guys like me are always getting into jams like this. Kate Hudson's entire career exists because people who fall in love sometimes tell lies about where they work. and Candace believed that I was a scout. I waited until we'd been together for a month before I told her the truth. She was mad at first. Girls get mad sometimes, even when the guy is Matthew McConaughey. But I reminded her of the comedic romantic truth at heart. The world isn't an unfair place. I know music. I'm smart. I think Mara deserves to be scouted and worshipped. Had I gone to some liberal arts college and worn vintage socks and subscribed to the notion that a Bachelor of Arts qualifies someone as employable and intelligent, I could have gotten a non paying internship at a shitty record label and parlayed it into a shitty job too. But as it happens, I don't subscribe to that antiquated notion. I'm my own person. She understood at first, but her brother was another story. One of the reasons it didn't work out between Candace and me. The good news is that I have no regrets. My troubles with Candace were training for this moment. I had to get into your place, Beck, and I knew what to do. I called the gas company and reported a leak at your apartment when I knew you would be at your dance class, and you always have coffee after class with a friend in the class, and this is the only guaranteed time that you're away from your computer. I waited on my stoop across the way for the gas man to arrive. When he did, I told him I was your boyfriend and that you sent me to help out. The law requires that all gas leaks be investigated, and the law of guys indicates that a guy like me, having dropped out of high school, has a certain way of dealing with guys who work for the gas company. What can I say? I knew he'd buy that I was your boyfriend and let me in. And I knew that even if he thought I was a lying nut job, he'd let me in. You can't just call in the gas man and not show up, Beck. Seriously. He leaves, and the first thing I do is take your computer and sit on your couch and smell your green pillow and drink water out of your brown mug. I washed it because his ashes lingered. You don't know how to wash a dish. I read your story called What Wiley Was Thinking When He Bought His Kia. It's about an old dude in California buying a shitty import car and feeling like that's the last vestige of his life as a cowboy. The twist is that he wasn't an actual cowboy. He just played cowboys in westerns. But they don't make westerns anymore, and Wiley never adapted. He never had a car because he spent most of his days at a coffee shop where guys like him sat around talking about the good old days. But they recently outlawed smoking. You italicized outlawed, which is cute. So now the gang has no local place to smoke their cigarettes and tell their stories. The story ends with Wiley and his Kia, and he can't remember how to start it. He's holding his key that's just a miniature computer, and he realizes he doesn't know where to go, so he buys an e-cigarette and returns to the coffee shop and sits alone smoking his e-cigarette. I'm no genius MFA candidate in your workshops. Seriously, Beck, they don't understand you or your stories, but you yearn for what was. You're a dead guy's daughter, thoroughly. You understand Paula Fox, and you aspire to make sense of all things Old West, which makes your settling, even temporarily, in New York a self-destructive move. You're compassionate. You wrote about old actors because of the photography books in your apartment. So many pictures of your places you can't go because they aren't there anymore. You're a romantic, searching for a Coney Island minus the drug dealers and the gum wrappers in innocent California, where real cowboys and fake cowboys traded stories over 10 cups of coffee they called Joe. You want to go places you can't go. In your bathroom, when the door is closed and you sit on the toilet, you stare at a photograph of Einstein. You like to look into his eyes while you struggle against your bowels. And believe me, Beck, when we're together, your stomach issues will be over because I won't allow you to live on frozen shit and cans of sodium water labeled soup. You like Einstein because he saw what nobody saw. Also, not a writer. He's not the competition, now or ever. I turned on the TV and Pitch Perfect is your most watched thing, which makes sense now that I can see your college life on your Facebook. I'm finally inside, studying the history of you in pictures. You did not sing a cappella or find passion or true love. You and your best friends, Chana and Lynn, got drunk a lot. There is a third friend who is very tall and very thin. She dwarfs you and your little friends. This outsider friend isn't tagged in any of the pictures, and there must be something redeeming about her because you appear very proud of this friendship, which has lasted since your childhood. The untagged girl looks unhappy in every shot. Her non-smiling smile will haunt me, and it's time to move on. You dated two guys. Charlie looked like he was always recovering from a Dave Matthews concert. When you were with him, you sat on lawns and did club kid drugs. You escaped that drug-addled dullard and fell into the pin thin arms of a spoiled punk named Hesher. On a side note, I know Hesher. Not personally, but he's a graphic novelist, and we sell his books in the shop. At least, we do right now. But obviously, the first order of business on my next shift will be burying Hesher's books in the basement. You've been to Paris and Rome, and I've never been out of the country, and you never found what you were looking for in Hesher or Paris or Charlie or Rome or college. You left Charlie for Hesher, and you were cold. Charlie never got over you. He looks permanently drunk to this day in his pictures. You worship Hesher, and he never reciprocated. At least, not on Facebook. There are lots of posts where you praise him, and he never responds. Then one day, you become single, and your friends liked your status in a way that leaves no doubt that you were the one dumped. Pitch Perfect has ended, and I go to your bedroom, and I am on your bed, unmade, and I hear the sound of a key entering a keyhole, turning, and a blitzkrieg in my mind. The landlord bitching to the gas man earlier today. Smallest unit in the building, smallest fucking keyhole. Always sticks. And I hear you put a key into your keyhole, and the door opens, and the apartment is small, and you are inside of it. You're right, Beck. It is a fucking shoebox.